Hey everybody, do you ever feel like you're speaking projector, but the world only speaks generator?
Yes, all the time. It's often like we're on a completely different wavelength. Although I have a story to tell you today that you're going to love. I can't wait. But sometimes it's even hard for us to understand ourselves.
Oh my gosh, that's so true, but that's why we're here. Welcome to Projectors in the Wild. We are sharing our raw truth about life, parenthood, and business as projectors navigating a generator world.
Hi, folks. I'm Heather Vickery, a transformation coach and author, podcaster, a gazillion other things, but mostly all of the things I do are here to help you, conscious leaders, learn to lead from joy. Because when joy is your foundation, not your destination, everything shifts.
And I'm Natalie Barnett, a success coach helping business owners blast through their blocks to unlock their potential.
Ooh, I like the blasting. I can see it, Natalie. I can see it. Okay, y'all, let's get real. As projectors, we are natural guides and leaders. We're not designed to be followers. And on this show, we're spilling all the tea because it is not always easy to be a natural guide and a leader. We're talking about the wins, the mess ups, the what just happened moments.
Those what WTF moments. So whether you are a projector ready to own your magic or you're just trying to understand your projector people, grab a seat, get comfy. This ride is about to get wild.
It's about to get wild. And by wild, we mean just really, really honest. And we can't believe well, I can't speak for Natalie, but sometimes I'm like, did we just talk about that publicly? Why, yes, we did. That's
Yeah,
what we
I
mean
feel
by
like
wild.
that's my like normal everyday life. I don't know if it's called oversharing or honesty, like whatever you want to call it. It's just what's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So that's interesting because that's the story I wanted to tell you. This all just unfolded last night. I keep taking my crystals downstairs and then I keep forgetting them downstairs and then I don't have them. But are you one of those people that's always holding a crystal all
Not
day? I'm
always.
always.
Yeah.
I always have one in my hand, especially if I'm talking and I don't need to be typing all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, distraction. I have really, so we've, okay, it's been well established in this space, and you and I have talked about it a gazillion times, that you are like a beautiful, pretty marketer. Like you're very skilled at this. Your stuff always looks organized and it's very established that that's not my thing. Now I can hire people, I can pay people. But when I either don't have the funds or the time or the right person, I tend to not put anything out there. So lately, what I've been trying to do is just be super engaged and honest in whatever way that looks like. Okay,
Mhm.
so here we go. I have a friend, a fellow threads person that I met a couple months ago, and she's also a projector. And I
Oh.
got a message from her, a voice message from her on Instagram last night. And she said, "Hey, friend, I just wanted to reach out because I can feel all of your pain and everything that you're posting. I can feel that you're really going through a lot with, of course, what's happening with the country, but I think you're transitioning a lot of things, and I can just feel it. And I wanted to make sure that somebody's holding space for you." And
Mm.
that's what she wanted to do. Okay. So the look on your face was definitely my first reaction. I was like, oh my God, I've overshared. Everyone thinks I'm a big whiny baby. Nobody wants to hear this. This is not sexy. My first thought was shame. Like shame just washed all over me. And then because I'm trained, I've trained myself almost instantly, it followed up with gratitude. Like, you know
Mm.
what? Hold on. Maybe I don't need to make this negative. Maybe it really is just somebody like me and like Natalie
Mhm.
who can tell something, who knows something, we don't know why. And she's just being genuine.
Yeah.
And that is, of course, what she was doing. But it was kind of wild.
Yeah, I know. I would it really depends on the day on how I would take that. I feel like, and also just like the context of how well do I know them and is there an invitation open on their like from me for their support too or um but I would 100% also like gut reaction or whatever. Knee jerk reaction would be, oh gosh, what did I do? What did I do?
Yeah,
Shouldn't have said
yeah,
that. Shouldn't what was it? Let me go obsess over what
yeah,
that was.
yeah.
But you're right. That's the cool thing is we can catch ourselves now and bring us and like kind of pull ourselves up to a higher perspective and look at it like, okay, let's look at it differently.
Yes. And that's the work, right?
Yeah.
And also you're correct when you said, was there an invitation from me? And there
Yeah.
wasn't. And that might have been part of it because I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. You're a projector. I didn't invite you to do
Yeah.
this. But she also wasn't being pushy. It
Right.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
just I saw this, I thought of you, and I just wanted to reach out, which was very kind. And actually, it's going to be the topic of my blog post and email next
Mhm.
week when I don't have a live show because it's holiday, is
Mhm.
just talking about unpacking this and what it means to sort of be super organic in how I'm
Yeah.
sharing what I'm sharing. And as a projector, it's both terrifying and incredibly freeing
Yeah.
to do it.
Sure. I agree. It terrifying for sure. I mean, it definitely is freeing too. I saw something today. It was like just some project. I think it was the projector movement. They shared about how projectors are aliens.
Yes, sometimes I feel like an alien.
I was like, yeah, on the kind of like in the way of we've been here for a while. Projectors have been around for, a while. And we're like just observing how everybody's doing things and noticing, wow, that's interesting. Like you could do it this way. Like, why do you do it that way? And you could do it this way. But, we can't just share that with everybody because they're not ready to hear it or whatever. And I just thought,
Mhm.
that because it just reminded me of like almost like an alien thing to do to be like, hey, I can feel this from you, and I just want to make sure you're okay, and I can hold this for you. Like,
It is. What we do know, and I tell my clients that. I'm like, as a projector, you do know, and you don't know why you know, and sometimes you feel crazy for
yeah,
knowing that you know. Also, right timing, right? Also, make sure people are ready to receive the message, and
yeah,
you've been invited to share it.
yeah,
But in 2027,
mm,
we're going to be taking over the world,
yeah,
right? Okay, and so that this just occurred to me is interesting on how projector leaders lead differently than other leader types.
yeah,
Barack Obama, the projector.
yes. Just
And so it
a moment
makes,
for him.
I know, God, the good old days, baby.
Oh, love
Back when we thought we were progressing forward
to.
instead of
Those were the days.
speeding backwards as fast as we can.
Honestly, I do feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like I can't even.
Absolutely.
I gotta dissociate more than I would like to.
I have to because I feel like we are the most recent rendition of Octavia Butler's books. Like if you've read any of her dystopian books, The Parable of the Sower will particularly terrify you. I read that one maybe
Not
5 or
familiar.
6 years ago, and I was like, "Oh, this feels like
Mm,
maybe possible."
mm,
It was the haves and the have-nots. There was no in between, and the have-nots, they don't have electricity anymore. They don't have access to food, and the grandma talks about it. She goes, "Oh, back when I was younger, we had electric." I can't.
yeah.
I can't. It's crazy.
Mm,
But anyway, thinking about, and I've mentioned this, well, maybe I haven't mentioned it here in this space, but I've talked about it a lot. When I saw him speak at a conference back in 2019, he very specifically said, "My job isn't to know how to do everything.
yeah.
My job is to know who knows how to do everything and to put the right person in the right position so that we can solve any problem very quickly."
Right.
That's a projector leader,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and
And
it's okay, so there's this okay, and okay, I'm not really battling with this, but I feel this really deeply because it's like for him what along the lines of what he was saying there, it's it's not a forceful follow me kind of leadership, and I never want to or can
Mhm,
do that.
mhm,
I don't have
mhm.
the capacity for that.
Yep,
And that's almost like what people are craving, or like they're saying they want right now, like my way or the highway, follow me kind of. But they can't see that that's not leadership that's moving us in the right direction. Like it's
right.
moving us in a very dangerous direction.
Yeah, it is.
So
No, it really is. And of course, it takes all types, but
Mhm,
a
mhm,
generator leader is going to think that they need to be in control of everything. They want to do everything. They want to manage everything. A manifesting generator leader is going to play here and there and everywhere. But because of that manifester in them, they will also delegate. They will also put things off. Generators don't like to delegate. And I
mhm,
love you guys. If you're watching,
mhm,
most of my clients are generators or
mhm,
manifesting generators. But
mhm.
learning to become leaders for generators is difficult because letting somebody else be the doer is very hard for them.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
please let
yeah.
everybody
Thank
else
you.
do. Just
Yeah.
let me, just let me guide and lead, and you do.
Yes, exactly. I just started to I just started, I hired a VA, to help me with.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, she's for the month of December, she's helping me with, now I love Canva. I could be in Canva all the time, but I don't need to be. So,
Mhm.
taking reels that I've done and emails that I've written and programs that I'm running and taking the copy from that and making carousel posts for me in Canva so that I have some content on days where I don't have something like a video. And in January, she's going to be helping me with some emails out to my mastermind and like keeping me organized there. Things that just again I don't need to be doing over and over again that she can do more efficiently and better than I can. So yeah, I it feels like freedom. It feels like I'm a
Hmm.
queen. I feel like a queen, like I feel like so, not in a way of like I'm better than anyone. I just mean like a queen of like, look how, you know, well functioning I am. I don't have to be doing it all. It feels really good.
I love that. Yeah. It- It's not, it's queen behavior, not queen
Mm.
as in bossy, but like
Right.
leadership behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
love that too. It's because I've always told everybody just because you can do it all doesn't mean you should.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially for us, especially for projectors and for the leaders who are not I have this conversation with people literally all day long.
Hmm.
For non-projector leaders who are trying to manage projectors, they need to understand
Yeah.
how those things come into play and the invitation involved there. It's a whole different ballgame.
Yes. Yeah. It's very true. And that's why I'm like really particular in who I hire for like mentorship too. What I love about okay, so I have a coach she's a generator, but she is well versed in gene keys and human design, so she gets like the strengths of projectors, um, and that's perfect. And then with like NLP and stuff, it's almost inherent that we don't tell people what to do. It's like what feels right to you. Let's get in touch with your subconscious. Let's get in touch with your intuition
Yeah.
to learn what's the best thing for you. So like both avenues, human design and NLP, allow you to be like really you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. They really do. And I think that's probably why I was attracted to NLP
Hmm.
is because it's intuitive to me
Yeah.
to ask and to be curious
Hmm.
and to not make decisions for. Although the projector in me loves to tell people what to do.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Um, and I feel like that we're making this all about me, and then we're going to make it all about you because I do have one more thing that I
No, it's
just,
okay.
when I thought about like, this made me feel so good yesterday. And when I'm like, who do I want to share this with? I'm like, I want to tell Natalie such a good projector thing. So, last Monday we were here was my 50th birthday.
Yes.
And we had a big birthday dinner on Saturday night. And my
Mhm.
parents came in, and my best friend and her family, who are like, she's like my sister,
Yeah.
and my nieces. And afterwards, we came home to have cake and we were going to play games. And while we were kind of just waiting around, one of my daughters and one of my nieces were on their phone because they're 15, 16, they're kids.
Right.
And my stepdad, just something tripped his old man trigger. And he walked over to the table and said, "Can you people put your goddamn phones away and show a little respect?" And
Wow. Yeah.
people were like, "What?" And not but not my kid, not my
Mhm.
15-year-old. My 15-year-old said, "I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not being disrespectful. Nothing's happening at this moment, and I know how to behave properly.
Oh, good
I
for
know when to put my goddamn phone away." It's literally what she said, right?
Ooh, good for her. That's oh man, I had that dynamic with my dad, by the way.
Oh, lucky you, because that's so, so rare. Well,
Yeah.
and then he pouted. He went and sat in the corner and
Yeah.
pouted until
Mhm.
I went over and said, "I appreciate your motivation. I
Mhm.
know you were," he might have had some cocktails too. He goes,
Yeah.
"I'm the only person in this room who loves you." I'm like, "Okay, well, you're not, because my mom's right there to birth me." But whatever. He said, "I just wanted people to show you some respect," and I was offended. And I said, "But I wasn't offended.
Yeah.
And it was me that you were worried about. I
Mm,
wasn't offended because we do things differently. And I
yeah.
know that that wouldn't have been okay when you were little, but we do things differently." And I said, "One of my favorite things about this particular kid, all of my kids, but this one in particular, is she knows how to advocate for herself. And
Mhm.
she's not afraid of pushing back." All of that to say, A, I was proud of her. He apologized and said, "I really learned a lot. It's a different perspective.
Oh, so good.
Like, it was really beautiful." He said, "This is hard
Yeah.
for me to learn, but I'm trying, and also really appreciate you for
Oh,
doing that."
oh,
And then I had this one, I'm like, we didn't do, well, you said you did with your dad. I didn't push back on authority. I might have thought those things. I never said anything with it. And so
mhm.
then people can't change. But I watched this 80-year-old man
Yeah.
open his mind to something that he would never have thought of before, because a 15-year-old
Yeah.
was able to challenge him. And I was like, This will change the world."
Yes.
And then I told her, I said, "I don't know if it's just that your generation is so bold and brave, or if it's because my generation just maybe did a little bit better than the one before."
Mhm.
I'm going to cry. She turned to me and she said, "I think it's just you. I think
Oh,
it's just because you raised us to know that our voice carried weight, that what
yeah.
we said matter, and we should
Yeah.
always stick up for ourselves."
Yes. That's it. This is huge. Like somebody I'm getting emotional too. Like somebody needs to hear this. A projector needs to hear this because we can feel like we're banging our head against the wall and we're saying these things. And is anyone picking up on it? People are picking up on it more than we think. And more is what was it? More is caught than taught.
Yes. I love that. I've never heard that, but that's it.
Yeah, from how you are being, people will catch your kids, other people around you, which is why when you're in a transformational period and you're working and growing,
Mm.
it's and you really want other people to do it too because you're like, I'm getting so much out of this, and you want other people to do it, especially projectors. Just remember, by focusing on you, it's catching. They're going to catch on
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah, that is beautiful, Heather. That is huge. What a
Thanks. I
win.
just felt really proud of, it's
Yeah,
been actually, if I'm being super transparent, it's been a long time that since I've felt really proud of myself as a parent.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, regardless of faults, like that's good. And if I think about all four of my kids, they do all do that
yeah,
differently. They're not quite as aggressive as this particular kid is, but
right.
they do
Yeah,
this. They know they're, and I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, the kids are all right."
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. I think I was the oldest. I was able to do that with my dad, but my siblings weren't really able to do that with him, which
Interesting.
I do see. Yeah, I don't. My instinct on it is that I reminded him more of my mom, and so and the others reminded him of him. So there's more animosity towards
Uh,
yourself than somebody that reminds you of someone that you love and like really, you know, are fond of.
yeah,
That's my guess.
that's so
Um,
interesting.
but it was almost uncontrollable. Like I have to push, I'm pushing back on this because this is bullshit. Like I'm no. Um, but I do recognize it's not everybody that, even in my family, that could do that. So
Cool. Well, so that was my projector week. I'll just go ahead and say those were my things. We
dude,
didn't
now
follow
you
any
had
sort
a
of
big,
protocol here.
you had a huge
Yeah,
event too that you hosted. Like
I did.
I want to hear about it, but maybe if for the purposes of this show, just like tell us how you navigated that as a projector
Yeah,
with like, all
I
of the
will. And then I'll fill you in later. And
yeah.
then we can let you talk because I've talked a lot. I didn't mean to take up so much
No, I
space
love it.
today. So it was the Chicago Empower Breakfast is what Natalie's asking about. And you're doing your own Empower Breakfast soon, which I'm really excited
Mhm.
about. I love that we kind of have that
I
happening
know.
parallel. It was our first event, and there were a couple of hiccupy things, but for the most part, it was fantastic. And as a projector, what I allowed it myself to experience were the invitations that came from the experience. So what
Mm,
I heard, and I knew this was an invitation over and over again, was um, the energy in this room is spectacular. Right? I knew when they told me that it was like show up as myself, like
yeah,
bring my energy. Those are the kinds of ways you can find invitations
yeah,
in the dialogue without somebody having to say, can you do this or please come
yeah,
do this. So many people said they can't wait to come back. I want to bring my friend. Let's talk about sponsorship. Um,
yeah.
it was a lovely event, and the owners of the organization texted me because they came. They texted
Mhm.
me on Saturday morning and said, "We are basking in the glory of your tremendous success."
That is so amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
wow, 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 wow. Like anybody, I know everybody can, like, can understand how that's amazing. But projectors, this is like literally water and air to us.
Yes.
And we have
Yeah.
been suffocating and very dehydrated. Like we can get that way, right? So we need this.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Very dehydrated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Um, so it was good. So
good.
tell us about your projector week we can go late if we want. The 8 minutes we have left.
Let me think. So we had, well, it was more of a life, a life thing, not as much business things.
Mhm, mhm.
I had my mom came into town on Thursday, and she's a manifester, just for if anyone who knows human design.
Okay.
And we had my daughter's dance recitals on Saturday, so it was all day on Saturday, and like choir concerts, just a lot of like holiday event type things for school and activities. And so my mom being a manifester, it's literally in her life's purpose is to step in and take command. That's what it says. And she does do that. She's very much an initiator. She's very much a director.
Which is
And
not always, right timing is still really important for those folks. And
oh,
sometimes the manifestors forget it.
yes, they do. And it's just interesting. It takes a lot of energy. Um, and but the best thing I've been able to help her with is like informing. Like, just you have to tell me what it is that you're doing. Like, you don't have to ask for permission. Just tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you are expecting to happen, so that
Mhm.
I have some kind of frame of reference here. And I will do my best to inform you of like what's happening today. Like today, I've got to get Tegan on the bus at 9. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a workout. I made her work out because that's the projector in me. Um, and then we're gonna get ourselves ready, and I have some things to get done. And then we will go at that point when I'm done coaching. Then we will go to run some errands, and we're going to come back and make dinner, and then we have to get to this place by this time. So like the informing piece, like that makes a night and day difference for her. But for myself, I have to find time to get away and like a recharge. So I was able to do that. We had a beautiful recital, and This morning, I don't know. I spent more time on self-care this morning just to get myself
Good.
back to,
Yeah.
my energy. And it has been a fantastic day coaching, speaking to you, um, and getting ready for like a workshop I'm doing on Thursday. So I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
manage the, remembering myself that when I
Mm.
forget myself, that's when the trouble comes in.
And that's the quote. That's the
Mhm.
poll quote, to remember myself.
Gotta remember myself. My needs have to come first. And I know it's not it still sounds, selfish sometimes. Like if I'm being honest, like my deep down it's like, ugh, well that's great for you. But no, but it's really true. I have to. I operate so much better. I'm such a much better I like it's like I liken this to when people say, you got to get ready for the day. Doesn't mean that you have to have like full makeup, hair, dressed to the nines or anything, but ready for you for that day.
Yes.
It allows you to not to when you're working with somebody else to see them fully and not be thinking about yourself so much.
Yeah.
So when I'm coaching, and I had coaching calls this morning, I need to have myself ready and poured into so that I can fully be there for people and show up for them. So I'm not it's selfless because I'm focused on them.
That's right.
But first you have to be selfish to
Yeah.
make that
Wonder
happen.
if we could reframe selfish to self first.
Self first. Oh, I love that. Self
Gonna write
first.
that down. Maybe that's
That's
another blog
selfish. Yeah, you
post.
should
We'll
make a
see.
quote or ask somebody to make a quote card for your social media that oh, you could do selfish and then like with a cross out and then
Yeah.
self first. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. Man, we're just like we have lots of pull quotes. Let's
I
go.
know
Let's
we
go.
do.
What else can we do?
That's so funny. I love it. I love it. So it's interesting hearing you say that. That's fascinating. I hadn't thought of manifestors. They inform. That's
Mhm,
their job, but
mhm,
they also like to be informed so
mhm.
that they know what to expect and can therefore inform. I think it's like this
Yeah.
circle. And it's really funny. It's smart to know it. Be like, I'm going to give you all this information so that I can have room to breathe, to be self
Yeah.
first. If you know
Right.
what you need to know, then you're going to leave me alone. But
Yes.
I also get like I'm not. I'm a super fly by the seat of my. I'm
Mhm.
an
Me too.
excellent planner.
Yeah.
I can plan and organize down to the minute, but I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. And our neighbors coordinated an event. We live in a town called Forest Park, Light Up Forest Park, where all of the trees on their street are wrapped in Christmas lights, and it is a spectacular
I bet.
thing. And so this year they have over 200 trees.
Oh my god.
Um, and this year they did a hot chocolate walk. Come get hot chocolate and snacks and walk around and see it. And they're just trying to grow it
Yeah.
bigger in the community. And so we were going to take the kids and walk over and get hot chocolate. And as we're leaving, she goes, "Okay, so do we want to go down this street or down that street or down this street?" And I said, "Well, the hot chocolate's here. Let's go there." She goes, "Well, do we want to see it all?" I was like, "Whoa, can we just go?
Yeah.
Can we just can we just go and just do what feels good?" She's like, "Oh, oh yeah, yeah, okay." I was like, I don't want to map this out. I just want to go."
I know. I am that way too. So it's against my nature because I'm like, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just figure it out. We'll just go. But I found this with all of my manifestors. I have two kids that are manifestors too. And more so for the kids, it's like with their creative streak and what they are focused in on. Like, just so you know, I need this to be done by this time and give them time to like so I'm not telling them what to do and when
Yeah.
to do it. I'm just letting them know. And like with my youngest, it's we have to leave at this time. So you want to go outside right now? Great, but we have like 10 minutes for you to do that. And then she gets to decide, oh, is it worth it for me to go out 10 minutes right now or I'll
Yeah.
wait till later? But it's not me saying you can't go outside, we have to leave in 10 minutes. So it's like if I can remember, and I don't, I'm never perfect at it. Nobody is. If I can remember to like give them enough time, it's helpful. And with my mom, if I can remember to tell her what's happening, she doesn't get as anxious, which then leads her to not act
Is she an
all.
emotional manifester?
No, she's an ego manifester.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have an ego projector daughter,
Mhm, mhm,
self-projected projector.
mhm.
Um, I ask that because that I have to do that with my manifesting generator. So maybe it's the manifester component,
Maybe. Yeah.
but she has the the transitories wave, emotional wave, which is
Oh,
the um unmet expectations
yes.
wave. So
Yeah.
she needs to see very clearly what's going to happen. And if her expectations are not met, she's going to throw a tantrum, and I just have to let her,
Yeah.
which is really important to recognize. Like that fit is not about me. She's
Mhm.
processing all of her stuff. She'll come back in 10 minutes and she'll be fine.
Yep.
But
That's
I
my
have
daughter.
discovered that I can, do your kids have that? Yeah.
My daughter has
I
that.
can be,
Yeah.
yep. So I can be most useful to her by giving her as much information as possible. But then I always have to say, this is the plan, but sometimes things change and we
Mhm.
don't expect them.
Mhm.
So could be different. This is what I think is going to happen, but it could
Yeah,
be different. Like just like cheep, cheep, cheep.
totally. Totally. I know. And I know it might sound like it's a lot of like jumping through hoops for people, but like it's just meeting them where they are. And so if when you can't be you don't expect yourself to be perfect. It's just like having these little tidbits. Like this makes the biggest difference for them. I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other things I could do, but this makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
focus on what makes the biggest difference.
Well, it makes everybody's life easier.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that's my very favorite thing about human design. And I've said this a gazillion times to a lot of different people is it has helped me understand people better and understand that I don't know what everybody's thinking and doing, but that I can ask good questions and be curious more instead of judgmental.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot more space for me to be fascinated by people than frustrated with them.
That's another one. Write that down.
No, right? I have to pull this one for sure.
That was good. A lot more space to be fascinated instead of frustrated. I think that's what you said. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I am gonna go ahead and write that one down. Uh-huh.
That was really good. Fascinated over frustrated. Now you have like 3 quote cards that you can just pull out of your back pocket whenever you need a post. I like
Yep. If I can remember to read the Post-it notes that are all over my desk, you should see them.
it.
All right. Well, we should probably close this out for today. But as always, I'm so glad to be here sharing space with you, Natalie, and anybody who watches.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great week.
See you. Maybe not next week. It's Christmas. We'll see you in a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah, see you
Yeah.
in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.